All right, let's do it live on a Tuesday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Bo. He is the great Z, and we got some news here on a day off Tuesday edition of the program. The Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals have agreed to the following trade. A 2026 fifth-round pick comes our way, and straight down 71 South goes Joe Flacco and a 2026 sixth-round pick. Joe started, of course, the first 4 games of the season for us. A couple of touchdowns, 815 yards. I ask you, sir, your reaction to this, and perhaps the reason why this happened and the timing of it.
Well, certainly I was shocked. I think, like a great many people, I was stunned when I heard the news, because this is not something that happens often. First of all, that a quarterback is traded in division. You illuminated to me that it's only happened 3 times. This being the third in recent history. Drew Bledsoe from the Patriots to the Bills, Donovan McNabb from the Eagles to the then Redskins, and now this one. Now there was another one that almost would have been the fourth, and almost was the first time the Browns and the Bengals had ever traded, when A.J. McCarron almost made his way up here to the Cleveland Browns. But a fax machine derailed that, according to the lore.
Yes, and apparently that story was retold just recently with Johnny Manziel, who apparently is making it his life's passion to document everything that's ever happened in the organization in his own way.
Yeah.
It seems like. But we digress.
We digress, we do. I'm stunned by it. It just, I get from like Joe Flacco's perspective, he probably wants to play. From the Browns' perspective, it's all right, we're going to see the young guys, which is what they said it was important. And so now, Dylan Gabriel is your starter and had a very nice first start. Dylan Gabriel, who's played a couple of series and 1 game, leads the team in passing touchdowns. He's thrown 3 with no interceptions. So, let's let the young guy play. He's looked pretty good. And then Joe Flacco probably wanted an opportunity. We had said on this show a few weeks ago, it made a lot of sense for him or Jameis to now former Browns quarterbacks to be the quarterback for Cincinnati, and they couldn't keep going with Jake Browning, so they did. You get a 5th-round pick back, which is just an asset that maybe can be used to move up, in a draft and get somebody that you like in an earlier round. But it's still quite surprising to me, to be honest with you. The Browns now have Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, and Bailey Zappi. And I'm sure we'll find out tomorrow if Bailey Zappi gets that roster spot and the Browns carry 3, and then, who's backing up? That'll be a brouhaha for another day. But no, it's about, I think, seeing Dylan Gabriel play. He's the starter, and then giving Joe Flacco, doing right by him, an opportunity, to play somewhere. And if you're Joe Flacco, you say, oh, so I get to go throw the ball to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins? Yeah, that works for me. Now their line is
maybe it's worse off than ours.
Tough.
Yeah. They have no threat to run either. 0. They do not have Quinshon Judkins. They can't run at all.
Chase Brown is struggling. Well, listen, they were able to run before because of Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And so you hope maybe with Flacco and his ability to throw the football, we'll see. But it just is wild that here we are in what was really just a 3-person quarterback competition, if we're being honest about it, over the entirety of the offseason.
It was 2, honestly.
It was really Dylan and Kenny.
Honestly, it was Kenny.
It was Kenny.
It was Kenny. Until the injury, it was Kenny. It really wasn't.
And I think that's what makes this whole thing so, when you just look at it from like the way, way, way back machine, it just seems wild that he's not here. And it feels like he's probably going to be a starter pretty soon in Las Vegas with the way things are going with Geno Smith. But that you went with the older quarterback, and here we are going into our 6th game. Well, he wasn't even our starter going into our 5th game, and now he's on another roster. So he was he was a team captain. I mean, he was a team captain. So yeah, definitely a surprise. I don't see any reason to help the Bengals, but we all know, whether that will be or not, we'll find out. But it definitely is a surprise, and just kind of feels like, all right, this season chips are all in. We're going with Dylan Gabriel, and we'll see where that takes us.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of layers to this. So to your point, I couldn't agree with you more on the Joe part, where I'm sure he said, if there's an opportunity for me to play, and they have a good enough relationship that if there's an opportunity where I can play, I'd really appreciate it. Now we're just guessing here. We have no idea. Everybody's off. I have no idea. I'm just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. But could I envision a scenario where Joe Flacco said, hey, if there's an opportunity for me to play somewhere, when the news is broken to him that they're going to go with Dylan Gabriel, could I see a scenario where Joe says, hey, if there's an opportunity for me to start, I would love for you guys to at least entertain it? Could I see that happening?
I don't think
it
did.
I could. Maybe it did. I have no idea.
I don't even think he went that way, but I think it was probably just one of those things that's felt pretty obvious. If he's not going to play here and he can become an asset for the organization in the form of draft capital, why wouldn't you?
So that goes to the other part, because you mentioned Dylan, and now Dylan all forward. When you have a rookie quarterback, and maybe this is a 30,000-foot view, I acknowledge. If I have a rookie quarterback, I don't mind having a vet in the room. It's kind of a sounding board. It's different if it's a vet versus a coach. And I understand we are obviously well-versed in the coaching aspect because Kevin does a lot of offense and Bill's here and obviously Tommy's here. And so there's a lot of great offensive people around here.
Yes.
But it is different when one's in the room.
Yes.
And I think that's the thing that, to me, from Dylan's standpoint, I liked having Joe in the room as a support for him. Like, you come off the field, hey, man, here's what this looked like. Here's what it – now, I have no idea what all of that was like since the change. We have no idea.
I guarantee Joe was a
I would think that Joe would probably be a total pro on that. It would be very, very helpful on that front. So from the Dylan perspective, I don't love this because I don't think there was a scenario where – my read on it was there wasn't a scenario where Dylan was going to be replaced by Joe for anything other than injury. And if he was replaced because of quality of play, then that's something else entirely, and that would be way down the road. My view of this is that Dylan Gabriel, and Kevin hasn't given us a hint one way or another how I assume this is how he feels, that this is a very long runway for Dylan Gabriel, that he is the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. And so
I would think so.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, like that's what he is, barring injury or massive struggle bus. Those would be the two things. Again, me, not coach, just from the outside looking in. So with that being the case, I just liked having Joe here.
Of course. It's just nice, always nice to have somebody there. And this is an offense right now that is really struggling. Mm-hmm. And so, to have somebody, I think, with that perspective in the room, I think that is a valuable thing for him. So I do think it is unfortunate, for Dylan in that perspective, and then when we find out whatever the backup quarterback situation is, there's really not a big win in it for Dylan either, because
either way,
if it is Shedeur, there are going to be a lot of people that are clamoring for him immediately, and if it is not Shedeur, there are going to be, if it's Bailey Zappi, there are going to be a lot of people that are upset about that. And again, the focus right now should be, or hopefully should be, on Dylan, who has started, played well. Are there things he needs to work on? Of course, and we went through some of those things, and we're going to have Jake Burns on later to talk about this offense, and not necessarily maybe to dwell on what it hasn't been, but what do we need it to be, and how can we get there? And Dylan is going to be at the center of that.
And the thing that I think is that's tricky about trades like this is when you ask yourself, did this make your team better?
Now?
Well, we're 5 games in. So did this make our team better now is kind of the only thing that you're in the business of doing right now, because you're only 5 games into this thing. Like, the draft isn't until next May.
No,
April.
and
It's
I think
forever.
What's really tough about it is that this does feel like a move that is an eye to the present with Dylan, but also to the future. And so when you think about the Browns' capital going into next year, and now they've got this collection of 5th-round picks, because remember that's what they got back from in the Pickett deal. So I think they have 3 5s now. Those are picks, and I mentioned, I think, briefly earlier, but those are picks that can be attached to move up a little bit, say, in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
For example, when the Browns moved down in the 2nd round in the draft in which they drafted Grant Delpit, the compensation that they received in addition when they moved down a few spots in the 2nd was a 5th. Mm-hmm. So if there's somebody that you really like at some point to be able to use one of these 5s to go up and get them, in the top 60 or top 70 scenario, that's a great thing. The other side of it is that is kind of the going price right now for like quality veterans. So you have now some 5th-round picks that you can go in. This is all for next year,
yeah,
is my guess. is you have some fifth rounders that you could maybe move, or perhaps in season, get somebody who's at least an offensive line, for example, it's under contract for next year. Mm-hmm. You can offer a fifth round pick somewhere. So I think that loss to Minnesota was so disappointing and devastating for a few reasons. And the main one to me was that had you won that game, you had a chance really to go to Pittsburgh, beat them. You get to 3-3. They fall to 3-2, but you have a head-to-head win over them, where you're like now kind of in the mix in this division. Cincinnati's going backwards. Now they'll get Joe Flacco, which is certainly an upgrade over Jake Browning. Baltimore is gonna be 1-5. Going in the break. Now they are going to have a chance to get real hot over the second half of the season, but you had a chance to really kind of put yourself like in the top half of this division, and now you have put yourself, not there. And we're going on the road to Pittsburgh, where I was talking once I go about going and beating them. Well, I've never seen us win in the regular season in Pittsburgh, and I've been on the road with this team since 2014.
Yeah.
It's just, it's kind of incredible that the starting quarterbacks in this division are now Aaron Rodgers, Joe Flacco, Cooper Rush, and Dylan Gabriel. I mean,
yeah.
It's just, you never expected it. I love Joe Flacco. He was, I think you could tell, like when I got to be around him and see him and talk to him briefly in London, he's a total pro. He gets it. It's not the first time this has happened to him. And we said it. This isn't a guy who's, started a full season since, 2017. So, like, he kind of gets what the deal is at this point. And I think deep down, he's probably very pleased that what happened in 2023 allowed him to get some nice money for 24 and 25 off of that. But, yeah, he wants to play. If you're coming out here, like, think about it, Joe, like, you really want to leave his family and fly to London for 5 days to not play? No, he wants to play. And so I'm happy for him that he's going to get that opportunity. Now, we don't face the Bengals until week 18, and you wonder if that factored into the decision, because it really would be, now it'd be crazy if that game ends up meaning
somehow
something.
Mattering, yeah.
Would be wild, but yeah, it's nuts. I just think, stepping back, it's hard for me to get my head around conceptually what exactly our overall or ultimate goal was from. Are you hearing that buzz too, or is that just in mine?
No, I don't have it. I think I'm good.
It just like came up in 1 second ago.
Yeah.
What you sign? You trade for Kenny Pickett. That was first. Then you sign Flacco. Then you draft Dylan and Shador. And the reality of the situation is when you draft a guy in the third round, like you I think if we're being like honest, as much as you liked him, you did not envision him at that moment starting week 5.
No, you would have. The only guys that get to that far is if they have some sort of character issue or something that you have to overlook at quarterback. And even that's rare. No, I think like the threshold for like drafting a quarterback who could start is like top half of the second round, that you view them that way. And
even then we haven't really seen that
rare.
Recently.
Like Shuck, was he top of the?
He was top of the second, but he's not starting.
But he's not starting.
Jalen Hurts didn't start right away.
No, you're right. I mean, there's a few of those, but not many. Not many. If you love somebody enough to say he's going to be a starting, he could be the starting quarterback of a franchise, it's a first round pick.
Yeah,
and then anything else is a lottery ticket.
Yeah,
that you value those based on the round. But yeah, I mean, yeah, if Philly loved Jalen Hurts, they would have drafted him in the first round.
Yeah.
If they thought he was going to be what he is, that's when they would have drafted him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that part of it. So yeah, you go through all of that, and it does bring up back that thing about Kenny, because that was so surreal how all of that happened, how he was absolutely the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, and then the injuries happened, he couldn't get healthy, and then you make the deal to Las Vegas for him, and look at him leading his people. That's what I needed that right there. A little bit of that. It's a little
bit of joy. Yeah, you are.
That's all you need. You over there? You guys over there? How you doing?
Is there like a distance that they have to?
I think they have to be
in his wake.
5, 4, like maybe 2 or 3 paces behind.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah. That's it.
Like ropes off the Goodyear blimp.
Be nice if one of these days he had like a flower girl who just was throwing petals.
That'd be ahead of him.
Ahead of him. Like just
like coming to America.
But the Pickett thing, and then we traded him to Vegas. And, we talked with Kenny, and Kenny was here. He was here every day. He was a big part of it. He was definitely doing a lot of leadership stuff. Quinshon said the first call he got was from Kenny Pickett. And then we traded Kenny. And my thinking at the time was, okay, well, they obviously feel like Joe's going to start, and Dylan is proving that he's far enough along that if something were to happen to Joe or it was ineffective, then you could go to Dylan, and you feel like that's an even flip, or maybe even you're a little bit ahead. Maybe Dylan showed you a little bit more in camp than what you were even anticipating. But now you went from this ultra experienced quarterback room to the opposite in a month.
Yeah, and we talked about how in history, whether that this had happened a couple of times. When do you know when those trades were made? I can't imagine that a team has ever traded its week 1 opening starter to a division rival after 5 games.
I'm in memory. I think both of those were after the season.
Now Charlie Fry was, I think, a week 1 starter here and then got traded.
Oh yeah, 2007.
Yeah.
Week 1.
That happens.
Less than 24 hours. Maybe even Sunday night. He was a Seattle Seahawk.
Well, and that's the magical Derek Anderson season where he's unbelievable and you go 10-6. My thinking, my memory of it is that Bledsoe was traded because he was there when they won the Super Bowl with Brady. That in Brady's second year, he was on that team that won the Super Bowl, and then they must have traded him in the offseason. And my hunch is that the Eagles traded Donovan to the Redskins in the offseason as well.
Yeah,
it's my guess. And obviously those situations are very different than this. I mean, Drew
the
was
Bills
still in the middle of his prime.
New England trades Bledsoe April of 2002 after Brady took over.
So that would be that would be after they won the Super Bowl in 2001, and then that would be right before the draft.
And then McNabb was April 4th of 2010.
Same thing then. So that would have been right before the draft.
Yep.
Those are the only 2 quarterbacks who started traded within a division. That's it. But it wasn't in season. So, yeah, I think that I think for Dylan now, he has a lot's been thrown at him in his very early NFL career.
Agreed. Hasn't been too big for him.
No, nothing's been too big, but now it's his room entirely.
Yeah.
It is his room, and whatever leadership he wants to take, he can take, and there is a very long runway for performance for him.
Yeah, the thing about it is just I do think that there had to be some value to him having Joe Flacco in that room.
Well, that's why I brought it up.
Yeah,
I think
I'm with you. You have to say that there's some sort of currency in that.
I think there is a currency in that. Well done. Yeah, I would say that there is. I think there's value in that. So, yeah, that's the way that it all goes. The Hoff was right. We should do that. Acknowledge that the Hoff was right on Monday night.
Hoff was right. Yeah. The
Hofstradamus.
Hofstradamus, he did. A little surprise. Great game. Fun game.
It was.
The Chiefs are the mystique of the Chiefs is not obviously where it had resided for a great many times. Mm-hmm. And I will say this, Devin Lloyd's pick 6, he started dipping his head at the 10-yard line of the 10-yard line, the first 10-yard line, and you're like, there's no way. He looks like he's laboring to run.
I know it.
And he makes it, which is some level of ineptitude on the Chiefs' part. But Tyquan Thornton was running and looked like he was a different species than everybody else trying to run him down. And he got blocked, still ran him down, and then he went for the punch-out, which I get instead of tackling him with the one. But
yeah,
his speed compared to everybody else who was running at the time was crazy.
It was. It really was. Yeah.
This is where we need that clip. If we're going to be from 3 to 5, we should have clips in there.
Clips ready.
Yeah, clips ready.
It's a little bit of I think it's kind of a little bit of a changing of a guard that's happened in the first month of this season. And I think that there was this group of teams, and for various reasons, Buffalo's obviously still very good, but that was a pretty shocking loss. To lose at home as a 7.5 point favorite, to lose to that New England team wearing your all whites and all the stuff that went into that, to lose at home in that is a pretty shocking thing. Baltimore's is because of injury, but they have dug a massive hole here. at 1-4 and about to go 1-5. That's very much real. And this Kansas City team is flawed in a pretty big way. And yeah, they're probably going to be fine, but they're 2-3, so they're a little bit better off, and they'll be better when Rashee Rice comes back. But it's still not all the way right there. And in the meantime, you have teams like Indy and I guess maybe Jacksonville now. Just the most stupefying way for them to win, with Trevor Lawrence falling all over himself and somehow like a baby deer trying to walk for the first time, getting into the end zone to win it. I mean, the whole thing was crazy.
And they had a play where he went at fourth down, gets it knocked out before he gets over the goal line.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there were 2 turnovers by those teams at the goal line.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But it is amazing. Here's one that's a little bit amazing to me. Travis Kelce, I want to say it was 2 years ago. I'm trying to pull it up and verify it right now. But it was either 2 or 3 years ago. Led the league in 20-yard receptions. Led the league, like all receivers in 20-yard receptions. It doesn't list it here. But it was 2022. So 2022, he led the league in 20-yard receptions. It feels like now they throw him the ball at the line of scrimmage in hopes that he like squirts forward for like 7 yards.
They are using him kind of like an old fullback, except he lines up at tight end.
Yeah.
But it's basically like the most they're hoping for is 4 yards. Like if he gets 9, it's like get up and point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah.
had that one in the first half where they threw that little slip and he picked like 9.
Yeah.
And he got up like chesty.
He was fired up.
Like it was like a 38-yard completion.
They really don't throw him the ball down the field anymore.
No. No. They don't. So, yeah. It's this has been a very crazy month of the season, and obviously what happened here today certainly adds to it. Yeah, it was 2022, right?
Yeah, 2022.
Yeah.
It's and Mahomes, their D is not as good as it used to be.
No.
Trevor Lawrence should run more. I think that became very apparent in that game. He's actually pretty good at it.
Yeah, he's a good
And
athlete. Really good athlete.
Pretty swift. It was fun seeing Kareem. Kareem got in there. I really thought when they scored the second one and they went up 28-24, that was it. They were going to get the
easy
cover.
peasy, baby.
It was great. You get the
See you
pick,
in the morning, boys.
and then you get the flag.
Yeah.
It's a good win for the Jags. Very good win for the Jags. By the way, those should be their uniforms, period. The Jags. That was the old school with the walking, prowling
Yep.
Jaguar.
Prowling Jaguar. Yep.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah.
Those should be their uniforms.
Yeah, that's it. There's a lot of that's happening. There's a lot
the
of that.
Seahawks Bucks was
Seahawks-Bucks was unbelievable.
beautiful.
Yeah, I had several requests in the house for a Mecca Buka white Bucks, and I'm
the
like,
white,
I don't
yeah.
blame you. That's pretty crispy. That's pretty nice.
So they like the white over the full creamsicle.
I think they might be right, too. I think it might be even superior in white.
Well, it's funny is I liked the old Broncos, the white with
one.
the blue number looks so good.
Yeah, it very much does. All right, we'll get some more perspective on all of this. Before we do that, though, that was today's Hot Topics Today, presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. Coming up next, the play-by-play voice of your Cleveland Browns, Andrew Siciliano, will join us to discuss the Joe Flacco trade and what is next for this football team. That's coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland. The new Rumpke Recycling Resource Center helps feed the circular economy by supplying Ohio companies and others in the Midwest with the materials they need to put your place in your bins to good use. To learn more about the facility and how you can recycle more, visit rumpke.com today. Time to head on the Twisted Tea Hotline, presented by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. He is the play-by-play voice of your Cleveland Browns, the great Andrew Siciliano, and he joins us there. As you were mid-bite on your Erewhon kale salad, how did this one land? How did it land for you, buddy?
Pull back the curtain. We all have a text chain. I think you know how it landed.
I said, well, that can be the show. That should be the show.
Yeah, I was stunned. I mean, like, I'm surprised. Like, we all get surprised sometimes. Like the Micah Parsons trade, which, admittedly, this is not, okay? No. I'm not comparing it. But, like, that one, you're sitting there going, whoa! And I kind of had the same reaction. I was taping an interview with Puka Nakua for the little Yahoo pod that I do, and the trade came down, and we're setting the Zoom up and everything, and I'm like, hey, Puka, because it had happened like 2 minutes before we logged in. Hey, Puka, you see this trade? He's like, what trade? And I told him, and he kind of had the same reaction, like, what? And yeah, it's it's kind of bonkers. True story. And so I called up NFL Research, my boy Dante over there, and I think I tweeted this. I know I tweeted this, actually. Jack Kemp, who later went on to a life in Congress, back in 1962, beat the Titans, not the Oilers, but the old Jets.
Yeah.
No, the Titans became the Jets. With the Chargers in Week 2 and then with the Bills in Week 14. So if Joe Flacco were to start and beat the Packers this week, let's do the math, 38, 58, he'd be the first quarterback in 63 years to beat the same team twice with a different team in the same season.
Well, see there, that's nice. Now we're a part of history.
There you go.
Let's
go.
And because, you know, he gets the Ravens twice, potentially, because they haven't played the Ravens yet. He'd be the first quarterback to face a team 3 times in a season.
Oh, yeah. That's very much in play, too, buddy, as you know, because that's like late November, early December. They play each other twice in 3 weeks.
They play on Thanksgiving in Baltimore.
Yeah.
So since Kerry Collins in 98.
There you go.
Wow.
Just bonkers. Yeah, a lot of stuff there. But I'm with you with what you guys said about the veteran in the room. And I think it's also part of the reason why Bailey Zappi was there, so that so Joe Flacco could have a veteran in the room with him.
Yeah.
To bounce stuff off of. Not that Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders can't, watch film and offer insight. They can. But Bailey was that kind of veteran to have conversations with and eat lunch with, to pick brains with, and now Bailey's the veteran in the room.
When you think about, you interviewed Miles.
Yeah.
And you asked him, they told you the plan at quarterback, and he gave that, what is now kind of a famous smirk to you. Do you think this was it?
No, this wasn't it. And the context back then, guys, remember, Miles had just done his presser. He had just come off the podium, and then he came upstairs and he did the Zoom. But that was like Russell Wilson had been in either that day or the previous day.
You're right.
And we talked about Russell in that interview as well. That clip didn't go viral. I don't know if part of Miles' smirk, that full disclosure, he and I have not discussed it since then. I don't know if part of his smirk had to do with maybe Russell, or maybe at the time, honestly, had to do with trading up to number 1, because there was still a lot of speculation at the time that maybe the Titans would move out. Maybe they would listen, and maybe the Browns would try to get up to number 1. Maybe that was part of it. That's what I think it could have been.
Yep.
Who knows at this point, It was good TV for the moment.
For sure it was. It's just, I think it's wild that you look at, you move on from Pickett, who I think we all thought made the most sense, and who I know, I'm not saying I think, I know, was kind of the plan to start week 1. And then you go with Flacco, and he's benched before the 5th game, and now he's on starting for a division rival by the 6th game. And then we said it. Listen, they like Dylan Gabriel. There was no question about that. We knew that from day one. But the idea that, when you draft somebody in the 3rd round, now Russell Wilson, things like that do happen. But it was probably unlikely that he was going to be in at this point. And so here we are. So it just kind of almost feels like, now listen, Dylan's played well. And now we were going to really get a good opportunity to see, can he be the answer? But it's an offense that needs a massive jump start. I mean, we're 10 games in a row at 17 points or fewer, which is not where you want to be. It just seems it's almost kind of hard to believe that this is where we are going into week 6 at Pittsburgh.
Well, listen, I go back to what you said about, the turning point of the season with the Vikings game. And I'm fully with you. You and I discussed this both on the bus and on the plane, and I think everyone feels the same way. Like, if you had beaten the Vikings, you go to Pittsburgh with a little wind behind your sails and a little here if you momentum carries one week to the next. But regardless, considering the state of the division, the Bengals, the Ravens, it feels a little bit different. We agree on it. I kind of compared to what we saw last year, and maybe this is a stretch, but we beat the Ravens. If you beat the Chargers the next week, you then head into the bye. And a lot of people didn't believe in the Chargers, myself notably, that week. You head into the bye, and then you head to New Orleans where Dennis Allen was about to get fired. It felt a little bit different. Now, this is far earlier in the season than then. I view these situations very differently. But let me offer you this. If they had beaten the Vikings.
Yes, this is a huge one.
Wait. But does the trade feel any different? To me, it doesn't. Like Joe Flacco, there was no scenario. Hold on. There was no scenario in which starting Joe Flacco again this season would have felt right. Do we agree on that?
No, I don't agree on that. If they beat Minnesota,
really? Why?
No, because then you're 2-3, and you're going to Pittsburgh with a chance to get to 3-3. Pittsburgh's not some super team, so all of a sudden, if you get to 3-3 and they're 3-2, and now all of a sudden you're saying to yourself, okay, we've won a couple of games, and if Dylan were to get hurt or nicked, and we're in the middle of things, I'd want Flacco. Okay. So that's
okay.
You're saying, is there any scenario? That's my scenario.
Yes.
Okay, so the scenario would be. Okay, if
they had beaten Minnesota,
they keep winning games, and Gabriel later in the season, and he's a part of them winning games, would then get hurt. Then starting Flacco would feel right. Okay, I agree with you. I hadn't thought of that scenario. I was just saying it's Gabriel's game now, and if for some reason it's not Gabriel's game, then I think we all agree. And Jimmy Haslam said it back in training camp. You have to see the kids eventually, right? So then it would be Shedeur shot. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I do.
And I think the other thing that you have to be that I think Dylan's been in some really tough spots.
That's the other part of it. Yes,
I think he's been in some really tough spots. Because I mean the other reality of this is that while you want to treat Shedeur like you would treat any other 5th-round pick. We're not idiots. He's not. He's a massive celebrity, and he was a massive face of college football the last couple of years. So as soon as you draft him, the situation for Dylan is very, very different than what it was before. And now we're going to be – I mean, you know how this is going to go tomorrow.
I do.
Shedeur's either going to be the backup, or it'll be Bailey, or Kevin will say we're going to work that out.
Is out.
Well, but that's the PR one. There's a real one on – that goes.
No, I understand that, but whatever. No, I get that.
Yeah, so, I mean, but you can't because he's not active yet. So that's the only depth chart you could put out. But they're going to do it tomorrow, or Kevin will say, he could say, we're still working those things out. I'll have it for you later in the week or something like that. So those are your 3 options.
Him to say that.
Me too. But here's what I'm saying. Now that becomes the story tomorrow as opposed to Dylan's game. So that's stuff that then you have to deal with over and over again. So I just think Dylan has got a lot on his plate. And I do think, and we don't know, we'll hear from Kevin tomorrow what he thinks about all of this. Maybe we're making a molehill and turning it into a mountain. But to me, I think you were better off having a veteran in that room, at least for a little while longer.
I agree. I think that's a fair and valid point. I also know that the algorithm, and I'm going to blame, the amorphous algorithm just hanging out there controlling everyone's lives. It's ridiculous sometimes because to me, and you and I, we're all texting this, my reaction to this story is you're trading a starter potentially if the Bengals choose to roll with him this week or next, whenever, within the division, right, to a team that you're only separated by 1 game with. Well, 2 games, 1.5, lost to him week 1. To me, that's the story. My algorithm in every social media app I'm in, within 30 seconds, it was just Shador number 2. That's what the algorithm gives you. And go back to Dylan Gabriel on the podium in London, talking about his parents not being able to come and his dad with the passport, and it became those tweets went viral, and anything he says goes viral just with the Shador fans and the comments and the engagement through no fault of anyone's, through not Shador's fault. Dylan deserved it, and we said this in the pregame show. Dylan deserves attention, respect, and praise for the way he played, for who he is. He's his own man. He met the moment. He's one of the most impressive 24, 25-year-olds I've ever met in covering football, and I truly do mean that. He is that impressive in terms of his maturity, the way he carries himself, the way he leads. When Miles says he goes out there and leads with his chest out, he's not just making that up. Like, he speaks confidently. He acts like he's been there, and it's his offense. He deserves our attention and respect, period.
And he's got it.
Yeah.
I mean, here we go.
I would also say that your algorithm is very different than mine.
Really? What's your algorithm right now?
I can't talk about it on the radio.
Yeah.
No, please, let's go. No, what is it? I want to know. Because I know Nathan's
Hey,
is all
how do
wrestling.
all right,
It's all
so this
wrestling.
is what
There
it
is
is
some
right
wrestling on my
now.
algorithm.
This is what it is. Like, this is where we are going forward, and so this is what it is. What do you want to see this week in Pittsburgh from this offense that you did not see Sunday in London?
20 points.
Well, obviously that helps.
20 points would be great. Famous last word, like things I want to take back from the broadcast. They got to 17 in the third quarter, and I said, maybe they get to 20, maybe they get to 30 today.
Oh,
That's weird because you
Idiots.
also have been quite adamant on social media recently that the announcer jinx is not real, and there are at least 2 examples in this season alone in our booths of that there it's maybe not causality, but there's correlation. There's correlation.
You had one in Detroit as well, didn't you? What was the one you had in
I don't know. What did I have in
forbid.
Detroit?
Gibby, didn't he have one in Detroit?
Gibby's not here.
He did. I wanted to kick him like 5 minutes into the game.
What was
I
it?
can't remember what it was.
When I say
You
the game-
said
guys get mad at me when I
something,
say
and
the
I was
game's
like-
going fast. That's usually what you guys get mad at me
Well,
for.
you do that every week. You're like, oh, my God, this thing's going
flying
fast.
along. We're flying
Yeah,
along.
it was a
here.
fast
Every
third
week,
quarter.
yeah.
That's quick one. Quick one. Clock was
Can't
running.
remember.
every
You
week.
did do something, and I was like, I looked at Mac, and I was,
It must have been a real big one. We can name both of these ones. And mine must have been so huge that we're in this like amorphous conspiracy. Oh, well, he must have done it. We don't know what it was, but he did it.
Oh, my gosh.
Phooey.
What was the one that you
Yeah, I want to know. I want to
in
know.
Detroit? Yeah, there
Let's
was
just
one
go.
over the
Let's be
weekend.
honest for a second. It's not like I was going into that game, full of optimism. I can't imagine there's something that happened in the first 5 minutes of that game
Derailed
that
it.
got me to be like, "Hey, now we're gonna go
Well-
throw some big confident talk." We scored on the opening drive. Maybe I said
Yeah.
we hadn't done that in a while.
Maybe. And you know what? I'll take the blame as well for London as well. I said as well twice there because I think I said at the open, like, let's get out of here and let's get a win. Now, that wasn't guaranteeing a win or
No,
defending
that's-
a win,
no,
but
no,
you
no
and I
jinx.
felt the same way.
No-
Like, we felt really good
Yes.
going into that game. Like,
That's why that one was frustrating.
Right. As you guys said yesterday, if you had told me that all you got to do to get a win and get out of here was get a one-armed Carson Wentz off the field with 3 or 4 backup offensive linemen and 80 yards to go, I'm not
Would've
allowed
felt
to
pretty good
gamble,
about
nor
it.
do I like gambling. I would have bet anything that would have happened.
That's why that one hurt a great deal, and now we've traded Joe Flacco.
Yep.
2 days later, I really do believe that game on some level was a bit of a pivot point because as we talked about, we laid out, if you win it, I'm not saying it would be foolish to say we're just going to go into Pittsburgh and we're going to beat them. The things are so in their favor. We just flew back from London. They're coming off of a bye week. We have not won there in the regular season in my tenure here, which began in 2014, and I know it predates that. They have been outgained in every game this year. Their point differential is not great. They are beatable. I mean, it's taken some crazy things for them to win a couple of games. Like, I definitely think we can beat this team. But
this
it's a whole different
this
thing.
This trade does not make them any more or less beatable.
Correct.
I guess that's where we kind of disagree.
I think what we're saying is that it on some level is more an acknowledgement. On some level, it is an acknowledgement of
Maybe.
we're a little farther away than we would have liked to have been at this moment. I think.
Maybe. I can see your logic there. It wasn't my first reaction, but I understand
Just
your
do the
logic.
simple exercise of if you're handling it for right now, are you better off as a team? Are you a better team for doing this today than you were 4 hours ago?
No, it feels
And
forward.
the reality
looking.
is that if you're in this game Sunday against Pittsburgh and Dylan were to get banged up, you'd feel, okay, Joe's played a lot of ball, let's go. The other two, Shador has been obviously well deep down on the depth chart,
Yes.
and Bailey has been here, so there's familiarity, but he's not Joe Flacco. So that's the thing that I think is it's a tough one. But it's Dylan's team now, and he's got the longest runway for this organization and everybody to see what he's capable of. And that wasn't going to change if Joe was here or not, though. That's the other part that's a little strange. I think that was the case regardless.
To me, if like these fives, and this is me trying to get very optimistic Nathan going again, or optimistic Nate, as you guys would probably call it on the program, that these fives are going to be used not to draft fifth-round players, but to either make a move in season to get, let's say, an offensive lineman that's under contract, and you couldn't just as simply trade Joe Flacco to get said lineman, so you had to do this to get an extra five. Or these are fives that will be used next year to move up in the draft and get somebody you really covet in the second round. Or now, because Jacksonville all of a sudden is the greatest team in football, that you'll have to use a five or something like that to help you move up and get that first-round pick where you want it in addition to something else. So I just think you've gotten some sweeteners, but it, again, feels forward-looking. But I think when you make a move and go to Dylan Gabriel, yes, you're doing that for the present, and you believe in him. And as I said, he's thrown 3 touchdowns without an interception, so that part of it is all good. But it is now – it feels like the tenor of the season is very different. And I thought you sent an interesting message to begin with, starting Joe Flacco and not keeping Kenny Pickett. And you've already gone off of that path rather quickly.
Yeah, no, I understand all of that, truly. And I would also point out, as I did last year in Pittsburgh, where we went and heard the overrated song Renegade,
Oh, man.
that the Browns did win there in 2020.
I was there. Fans were not.
The most meaningful of their games in Pittsburgh.
Z was one of the hundreds.
I was one of the 200.
One of the 200 people that were there.
Yeah,
You were there.
yeah,
Lived
yeah.
it.
It's. I mean, of course it counts. It was awesome. It was an unbelievable.
It counts more than all the other ones combined. Yeah, absolutely. Are you kidding me?
That
Really?
year is a bizarre. It's a
To
bizarre
beat them
year.
in the playoffs?
I think if you got to
see
watch,
Ben's
if you got to see it with a Renegade and a full
full
fans and
crowd,
all that, I think
yeah,
it
like
has a
I've
little
never
different
seen
feel
a
to it.
win there in front of.
Let me
that
ask you
crowd.
this: in Los Angeles, how do they consider that Lakers title?
In the bubble?
Yeah,
I've never heard
There you
anybody
go.
talk about it.
there you go.
Well, you know what? Put it this way.
Just a different
it's
world.
A title? No, I'll explain. It's a title.
Yeah,
The fans who hate LeBron will use it as a pejorative. So if you are a LeBron hater, then it's a negative. If you're a Laker fan, it's a title.
yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like, it's the Steelers. You beat the Steelers in a playoff game in their building. Like, I mean, Ben crying on the bench, the pouncing.
No, that was great.
Hand,
Yeah.
like,
Oh, that was
head
fun.
in hands. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
put that on a T-shirt.
Yeah, that was great.
It feels like 60 years ago
Yeah.
in some ways. Well, look, we'll see how the kid does this Sunday over there. And I thought, and we talked about it a lot yesterday, I thought he appointed himself very well. The stage was not too big.
Absolutely.
Never at any point did he seem surprised or shocked by what he saw. It seemed like he was completely prepared. And so I look forward to seeing more and seeing what he's capable of this week. And I look forward to you guys on the call, buddy. Good talking to you.
Yes.
Absolutely. I have some gear for you guys allegedly coming on Friday as well. So
Oh,
hopefully I'll bring that. Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, baby.
Oh, Mom.
Now you've piqued our
West-
interest.
West-
I'd also
West
like
Coast gear
I
could
would
be-
also like by then I'd like a documentation of my jinx. That
Yeah,
we're
we need
talking about that
documentation.
nobody can recall.
I mean, that's up to Gibbe. I mean, we got to go back.
Believe me. Let's be honest for a second. This guy loves to give me garbage.
I know, and he can't
loves
name
to
it.
pile on it, and he can't name it. Means fake news.
Fake
Didn't
news
happen.
never
It
happened.
Never happened.
Can't say it did.
Yeah.
Can't
In
say it
fact,
did.
we've gone 48 minutes without complaining about 1-3 versus 3-5.
Well, no, we did once.
No, I did
You
already.
did
Are
already. You
nuts?
missed it. You missed
Yeah, wake
it.
up.
Yeah, see, that's
Wake up. Lock in. What, are you
No.
taking a nap? Is this in your
Not-
siesta time?
We'll, s- we'll, s-
Have
we'll-
we told the story about the fan pregame in Detroit yet?
The fan
Fan
pregame.
pregame.
I'm just trying to figure out if Z complains more about time change or Siciliano went to Syracuse.
Oh, see there.
Gibby's choosing
Wait,
violence.
you're gonna go there.
with you
Here
both.
he goes.
You're gonna
dude.
go
Here he
there.
goes.
It'll be me
We're
next. I'm
tell
gonna
the
be.
story. We're
Oh
gonna tell
my
the story about
God.
the fan yelling at Nathan in Detroit.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if we should because my reaction to that, I don't think we should.
All right, we'll keep that.
It's
to
good for
ourselves.
us.
That's
a good one.
That's
for
a
all
one
of
for
us.
us. That's a one for all of us.
Yeah, that's for us.
We'll see you Friday, buddy.
Good night now.
Enjoy your salad.
Good night now.
Good night now. Is what he said. Middle of the day. Good night now. Oh, boy. All right, we'll get you the Microsoft Minute coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Elk and Elk, serious lawyers, serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK Ohio for a free case review. Elk and Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Time for that Microsoft Minute. Elk and Elk is Microsoft Minutes presented by Microsoft. Presented by Microsoft Surface Copilot Plus PC. Dr. Z.
This week in the Minute, we're just going to talk about really what I think is the most positive thing going right now on the Cleveland Browns, and that's Quinshon Judkins. Quinshon Judkins, back-to-back games over 100 total yards. His rushing totals are increasing every single week. He's showing you what he can do as not just a runner but a pass catcher. He's got more plays of 30 yards than the rest of the Cleveland Browns football team combined. He has been nothing short of spectacular, and he's doing it, quite frankly, right now against some heavy boxes. He is doing it in a situation where teams are not necessarily afraid of what it is that we're doing throwing the football. And so to me, that makes him incredibly impressive, and it really feels like the Browns have found, a star here in this young man. And when you look at what he's able to do, of the leading rushers in the NFL, and mind you, he has played one fewer game than just about everybody else in the league. Now, you've got some guys on buys, but you're talking about, Jonathan Taylor. By the way, Javonte Williams having a heck of a season right there. You're talking about Ashton Genty. You're talking about James Cook, all of these guys. The guys that are over it right now, it's Taylor's 478, James Cook's 450, Javonte 447, ETN 443, but he's already got, that extra game there. When you look at yards after contact in the NFL, number 1 is Jonathan Taylor, 346. Number 2 is Javonte Williams, 326. Number 3 is Ashton Genty. 313 of his 349 yards have come after contact. Jeez. Number 4 is Quinshon Judkins. 299 yards of his 347 are after contact. Now, what becomes even more impressive is if you are to look at the running backs in the league, and I'm going to limit to guys that are, over 300 yards rushing on the season, number 1 in the league in yards after contact per carry is Quinshon Judkins, 4.15. Number 2 is Javonte Williams, 4.13. Then you get down to Ashton Genty, 3.8. David Montgomery, 3.8. Amarian Hampton, 3.8. Taylor, 3.7. So he is doing this at an incredibly, incredibly high level. He's already got 8 runs of more than 10 yards. He's already got 3 runs of more than 30 yards on the season. His breakaway percentage, he's been very good on it, his breakaway running. He's done just a fantastic job in every possible respect. He's improved as a pass blocker as well. I think the Browns have found a gem. It's been very hard to envision being able to replace, seamlessly the guy to our left right here, Nicholas Jamal Chubb. But he's got that. And I think what you saw is not only his ability to, be elusive, his ability to make big plays, but his ability to make plays where there's nothing there, his ability as well to kind of be patient in the hole and run, whether he kind of gets that Le'Veon Bell where he kind of comes in upright, hops, and then is like, boom, he's gone. Quinshon Judkins is the real deal. And if you're the Cleveland Browns, you've got to be thrilled with what you've got so far in Quinshon Judkins.
He's 5th in the league in yards per game. Missed a game, and he's still 5th in the league in that. He's 5th in yards per game in the league, behind just Etienne, Williams, Cook, and
he's
Taylor.
the best contact runner in the league.
Best contact runner in the league, as you illustrated there. I love that you did that yesterday, because when I was way back in the process, when I was trying to think of the comparison for him, I was thinking young Kareem Hunt, because they both ran kind of upright and violently would cut.
Yeah.
But the Le'Veon Bell is a really good one. It really is, because what his ability, he did this at Ohio State, he did it at Ole Miss before that, but his ability to get to the line of scrimmage and just kind of find his way, and then his start-stop is so elite.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a Tesla Model S Plaid, baby, 0 to 60. Like, it's quick. And then he's got the breakaway where you're not catching him. And it stinks for him, because he really could have had 185.
Yeah.
In the game
he should have.
on Sunday.
Should've.
Probably should have. So yeah, he is an engine of this offense, and
Yes.
and it's hasn't been easy for us offensively anyway.
No, he is the bright spot.
Without him, it's hard to know how you'd go about your business. So he has been an absolute star. and everything that you drafted him to be. In terms of where are their answers on this offense, Jake Burns of the Browns Film Breakdown will join us with his thoughts on that coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Add more fun to your fandom with the Bally Bet Sportsbook app. Download today. Get 50 back in bonus bets. You place your first wager of 10 or more. Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Time to head out on the Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea Hotline, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. He is Jake Burns, our buddy from Browns Film Breakdown, and he joins us now. Dylan Gabriel, first start. What did you like? What didn't you like?
Yeah, I thought there were some good moments for him inside of structure when he felt comfortable. I think we can all agree that they're still trying to solve a little bit of what's going on at left tackle, and I think some of the errant throws that you saw pushed high, either out of the back of the end zone, a couple up the sidelines, were his way of trying to alleviate some pressure that he knew was imminent and they were going to have some issues, in the one-on-one. He could kind of see through his progressions that he needed to get rid of the football, tried to stay on schedule. That's the stuff I thought was really good, really clean, keeping the football protected, staying on schedule, not taking losses, but also when needing to, when calling him into those moments, I thought he stepped up fairly well. the ball up the right sideline right before halftime to David on the high point on that little smash concept, which is a speed out in the corner, put it up where only David could get it. That was a great throw. Had that 3rd and 13 there in the first half that he put right in the hole of the zone. And that was a really high-level throw where you've got 7 Vikings at the line of scrimmage, kind of feigning whether they were going to blitz or not. They're punching out, dropping out into like a hybrid zone look out of a 3-man hybrid. It's really tricky. You almost have to see it to understand it, but it's tough because you're trying to delineate, hey, is this zone or man? He puts it to Jerry Jeudy, sits him down kind of right in the hole of coverage there on a 3rd and 13, which should have been caught, and a first down was going to be had there. And then obviously the touchdown ball was a great job of coming off the front side, working to the middle route to David, finding his answer, his solution, and then kind of throwing that football around interior pressure, which is something he has to keep proving he can do, handle interior line chaos, right? Find those passing windows. So some really good stuff there. I do think a couple reads he missed, some things he came off early. The obvious messaging to him was to keep the offense on schedule, keep going through things in a quick fashion, understanding what's going on up front, and some of the weaknesses they've had. So if he gets to feeling more comfortable, I'm confident there can be more downfield opportunity, but it was clear the game plan. I'm sure they'll probably try to activate some of the similar thoughts with Pittsburgh this weekend. But I mean, the environment, the defense you're facing, nothing but optimism should be had about how Dylan played.
Jake, when you look at this Browns offense and what it has been at its best under Kevin Stefanski, what's happening with the play action game? Has the league caught up to kind of those keepers with the levels concepts? We're just not as a team right now getting, and we can run the ball effectively, and I know that you'd say, and everybody does know that on some level it's not necessarily linked to running it effectively, although it certainly can't hurt it. Why are we not able to generate the downfield chunk plays or even intermediate where you get a lot of yak chunk plays off of play action like we had been able to at times in the past?
I think that it's obviously the biggest question. It's a great question in terms of how they're, when Kevin arrived, I think there was a really big emphasis, if you recall, press conferences, early portions of his coaching here, that we want to really marry how we run the football to how we throw it. We want to make those two things synonymous and make defenses confused in that way. And I would give it a couple different ways of answering this. To your first point, defenses have evolved. I think when Kevin arrived, it was not the way of going about wide zone and play action from under center hadn't quite hit the level of frequency that we have seen in the NFL the last 5 years. Defenses are getting very comfortable. And really what's impressive is linebackers are getting so much better at reading run initially, feeling out what indicators they need to feel out that it's a pass, and punching out and dropping under zones. Because you can't get to those intermediate chunk throws, the deep overs, the double moves, if linebackers are dropping into those windows. And I think defenses are getting really far more advanced at defending those concepts than they used to be. So you see teams dressing up things in a different way. For example, go watch how San Francisco uses Kyle Juszczyk, their hybrid fullback that they love to put in blocking and then melt into concepts and routes that create some advantages for them. Then also simultaneously, if you can, go watch how the Rams do wide receiver inserts. They'll take their wide receivers, use them as a part of their blocking operation out of 11 personnel, 3 wide receivers and a running back, have them be blockers at times, be really tough at that point of attack, but then also sneak through the line of scrimmage and get out on routes to open up some different looks that defenses aren't quite accustomed to seeing. So really what you're trying to do, and I think what the best offenses are doing right now, is giving defenses confusion in different ways, right? Not the traditional bootleg to a levels concept, not the traditional straight drop into a 2-man max protect route. They've seen that. That's been in front of them because of the I think it's just become so saturated in the NFL. And this is a credit to what, Shanahan has done and what ultimately McVay has done and all of their disciples that are spread across the league, and even the Kubiaks, right? And that's where Kevin comes from, the Kubiak tree. You track it all the way back to Denver when Shanahan and Kubiak were together, those Super Bowl teams. It just has turned into this offensive structure that is very saturated, and a byproduct of that is that defenses are better at defending it than they've ever been because they've been exposed to it so much more often. Most of the time, most of these places have core elements of it that their own team is running. So not only are they preparing for you in game week, they're seeing their own offense run it in OTAs and minicamp and training camp. And it just has become second nature. So you are trying to see teams do different things. Hey, when we're under center, instead of it only being a run or play action, we're going to 5-step drop out of it and make it confusing for them. Let's do that. Let's get them out of the mode of like, when we're under center, it's either run or play action. No, let's straight drop off of it, try to create some downfield opportunities. I think teams are trying different things. I would say that the Browns are not at the forefront of that right now. I think there's some stuff there that they could be doing. I can't speak to what their guys can handle and what their belief is about getting that accomplished, but there's some things that I think are missing for them to capitalize on what Quinshon Judkins is doing, because he's creating rushing yards for them in a very unique way. So what they got to get better at is marrying some of the looks of the things he's doing well with some opportunities to find chunk plays off of those same looks. That's something that's just not happening right now.
And to that, I mean, I don't feel like, you know, you talk about some of the other teams that do this so well, and the Rams, and obviously you mentioned some things they do differently, but with Stafford or with, you know, the Niners, whether it be Purdy or Mac Jones, they do such a better job of attacking the middle of the field, and it feels like we only are in the middle of the field if it's like a stick route, if it's just a quick kind of short hitter over the middle, or if it's one where you're checking it down and you let the zones kind of drop and then you throw it underneath them. How do we get kind of that middle of the field back? Because that is, when you watch a lot of the offenses, sure, there are big plays down the field to the outside. We're not really throwing the ball more than 20 yards in the air very often. Certainly Dylan Gabriel did not do it until the last drive of that game. And you're playing a team that plays more too high than anybody, so I understand that on some level. But if a team is playing more too high than anybody, one of the vulnerabilities is the middle of the field. And it feels like we're not living there. Are you seeing something schematically, or is it timing issues? Is it because our tight ends and the guys that would work a lot of those seams are forced to chip so often that they can't get into those routes? Why are we not able to really work that middle of the field?
Great stuff there. I mean, some of those things are the problem, right? Like they're forced to. Right now, maybe this rectifies if some things improve as Jack gets healthier and they maybe give Cam Robinson a little bit of help, or KT gets more experience, gets a little better at this as he goes. But, like, they're not protecting well, and they know they're not protecting well. And from that issue that is in-house, they know it. They have to chip either a running back, a tight end, or two tight ends. And like you said, when you do that, that's like a second to a second and a half. They're not out on any route. Think about how long dropbacks are in time to throw, usually like 2.25 to 3 seconds. And if you got a guy who's got to slow down an opposing edge rusher from getting upfield, that eliminates two of those routes from having significant implications on the defense, period. Now, you could get to a check down. Sometimes they don't cover it. Sometimes they do. Sometimes zone stresses it. But like the consistency of finding things off that, you just can't do it down to down. So it's that. Also, again, tracking this back to some protection stuff they've struggled with, they're seeing more man coverage than anybody in the league.
Yes, I was going to ask
you about that. They have 78 dropbacks against man coverage right now. Then the team below them is second place, has 68. 10 more snaps in this look because teams are saying, I'm just telling you what teams are saying, we don't think you can separate. We don't think you have a schematic advantage over us to make it hard for us, whether that's tight bunch alignments with differentiating releases that make some responsibilities tricky. You don't have rub route concepts that are effective. The motion doesn't threaten us in a way that scares us. And we don't think just in general, you can protect long enough to let downfield man-beating routes develop. That's the issue. There's no other issue to me than that. That's the single biggest thing. Routes against man take longer to develop because it usually involves either some sort of two-cut route or a route that needs a longer period of time to either work across the field or rub against some other route. And that is the Browns don't have time to get to it. They just can't find them because there's not enough time consistently. So that's why defenses are saying, and pretty much I kind of got to go back and double check this, but through the first 4 weeks, every defense they played have played more man coverage than they typically like to do
their normal,
the Browns, because they know they're going to get home and the routes aren't going to get open in time more often than not. And they're not worried about leaving guys on an island because of that. So They've got to solve that schematically, different looks, different motions, and I'm talking purposeful motions. Motions aren't just moving a guy to tell you whether it's man or zone. I need you to move a guy to get him into a position to upset somebody else's trail coverage defender, or set a natural rub, or set a confusing setup where him going from number 3 outside to number 1 inside makes the pass off of coverage confuse who's responsible for who.
Yep.
We got to, that's where I think this offense figures some of this out. They've got to get unique, diverse, and different against man coverage looks that are not going to slow down anytime soon. Because if they don't, and they can't rectify the issues in finding guys open, you're going to see quarterbacks taking sacks, and you're going to see throwaways because they can't separate. If it's predictable and the defense is comfortable playing on their toes and not their heels and playing that forward press man coverage stuff, that's where the field feels like, man, it feels like the Browns are playing inside of like a 30-by-30 box, and
Yeah,
they can't get
it's
out
tough.
of it.
It's compressed, and I think one of the things you talked about with the motion and motion that really matters is some of the teams, we talk about the Rams, we've mentioned them. Chicago's doing it with Ben Johnson. The Chiefs are doing it quite a bit, obviously. You got in Denver. I'm just looking at some of the teams. These are the teams that have faced the highest percentage of busted coverages, and part of that because that motion can put stress on the rules, and all of a sudden you have guys who have to communicate or make split-second decisions, and it leads to bust. The Browns have faced the fewest busted coverages in the NFL, and I don't know if that's anecdotal. I don't know if it's tied into what we're talking about here or not, but it's another kind of a data point there, and sometimes you need those chunks and you need those busts to make things easy. That's how you get there, because as we know, we haven't been able to get to 20 points so far this season. It's been 10 straight games in doing so. There's still a lot of good and a lot of things to like, but I really don't know how we can get there kind of mid-season, and maybe hopefully we can.
Well, I think a great example of this I tried to post yesterday on our Twitter feed, Brownstone BD, and it was a route, and there was no motion tied to this. Because I want to be clear, motion doesn't solve all your problems. I know you guys don't think this. I'm just reminding the audience. It doesn't solve all the problems, but it certainly creates more problems for the defense than they want. So giving them more of that, making them prepare for more of that, does lead to confusion. And it takes 3 plays of confusion to have 21 points on the board at the end of the game, which is a place the Browns can't find consistently enough. But a great example of why they're not getting to these throws. There's a 3-by-1 concept in the second quarter where Isaiah Bonds to the left, a young receiver trying to learn the game, trying to fit in, playing above his feet a little bit.
Yep.
And there's no motion on this play. It's just a 3-by-1, and David's running up the seam as the number 1 inside receiver, closest to the tackle box, right? Coming off the snap, Dylan's looking left side. Bond doesn't really run a route. He gets collisioned at 5. It's kind of a nothing thing from him. I don't know if he didn't know what was going on call-wise in the 2-minute, whatever. But, Dylan's looking left. He wants to first check if he can find Isaiah for a quick throw to the sideline. He doesn't really run a route. But as he's looking left, his left tackle is beat so cleanly, he feels the need to just throw it over his head, where if he could just slide up a bit and look back middle, David's running with nobody around him. And it's a microcosm of their biggest issue. One play, it's a receiver not running the right route or finishing the catch. Another play, it's a quarterback maybe not getting to who he's supposed to get to because his internal clock is sped up. Another play, it's an offensive tackle or a guard kind of just losing somebody and creating that momentary pressure that distracts the quarterback. And then sometimes it's like they're just not dressing it up well enough to make defenses confused. It's an everybody issue, to be clear. But it's you got to figure this out, guys. It's week 6, and you've got to figure it out soon, or you're looking at more unfortunate results. It's a crisis they've got to solve.
All right, let's just flip it to the defense really quickly, because defense is still playing well. Obviously, they give up that long drive at the end, which was unfortunate. But, 3 sacks, they did get the 2 turnovers, but didn't generate pressure, I think, the way that many of us expected going into this game, particularly with the issues on the line of the Vikings, particularly with the fact that they were sacked 6 times the week before. They'd given up the most sacks in the league. What did you see when you put the tape on in this one up front? Because there was a lot of good, but it certainly was not the jailbreak to the quarterback that I think many people envisioned. And certainly, I know it's not that easy. There's still professionals on the other side, but I felt like we were going to be harassing Carson Wentz a lot more than maybe we did in that game.
Kevin O'Connell's good at this, man. And I think he really, his plan with Carson was as much as we can keep the Browns out of blitz situations and as much as we can get rid of the football as fast as possible, it's just going to keep us in a more harmonious place. So, yeah, I mean, listen, the Browns need a ball winner at wide receiver. What I mean by a ball winner is a guy who, like, hey, nothing's open. I'm just going to throw it up to that guy. Justin Jefferson's, he's a unicorn right now, right? So, like, that helps. Yeah, we're going to throw a fade on Denzel. Denzel's in, like, textbook coverage, but he's still going to come down with it, or some other, like, that's going to happen. But the point that I was concerned about was, like, taking that away no matter what. Like, we want to make Carson come off of the first read, and I didn't feel like there was enough coming off the first read and making him hold on to the ball in a really meaningful way that allows you to get home. Because obviously, like, you can have a great pass rush with 4 and drop 7, but if they're able to find ways to throw it quick, either high percentage or low percentage, you still have to be able to have enough time to mess with that. And I thought, yeah, the Vikings on some of the longer holds did hold up well enough. Carson was able to kind of sneak out of a few of those. But to me, for the most part, like, this one came down to a pretty clean game plan of almost isolating a side. We're going to go half-field reads. Let's get the football out quick, and then we're going to run some very calculated play-action concepts that, again, isolate a player on a single player that we think we can take advantage of. The goal was to keep Carson fluidly getting rid of the football as quick as they possibly can. And they did a pretty good job of that. So, you know, again, to their credit, I thought they did what they needed to do. And I think this is a breaking point, not a breaking point, but this is something the Browns need to get prepared for. I'm pretty sure, I have to double check the data, but Pittsburgh gets the ball out faster than anybody in the NFL right now. Aaron Rodgers wants to get the thing out of his hands, bubble screens, quick screens, like very quick concepts meant to get it out so that he doesn't have to, A, at his age, get hit very often, but B, they know the hindrance of some of their passing protection stuff. So they're going to do that again. They've only thrown the football 6 times, 20 air yards or more.
Wow.
So there's your sign. They want to get rid of it quick. How are the Browns going to combat that to make them uncomfortable? You can't play man 100% of the time. So what zone looks are you going to give them? Browns are liking to play more cover 2 and more cover 6. They're open to doing that. They've tried it. Obviously, the final snap of cover 2 burnt them, but they're trying to get mixed pre-snap to post-snap. That's been very encouraging this year, making it look like man but dropping into zone, having more off-man instead of press-man, so it looks a little bit like zone pre-snap before it comes ultimately into a man coverage. I like what they're doing, but the teams that throw it quick have given them some trouble because then your pass rush doesn't get into that, you know, eat them alive mode that makes them really special. You start to think, oh, the ball's going to be out before I even get home. You start to get worn down. It's a domino effect. So I think if you're going to beat Aaron and Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, it's making Aaron uncomfortable pre-snap to post-snap, and he's got to hold on to it a little bit longer. They're doing everything they can in Pittsburgh to stop doing that. We'll see if the Browns can combat it, while also understanding Pittsburgh in a bye week, self-scouting. They know the same data we do. I am curious if they're going to try to chase some bigger throws in this game simultaneously. That's a little bit of the danger of playing a team coming off their own bye week.
Jake, you're the best, man. Thank you so much
stuff.
for your perspective as always, and greatly appreciate your time today.
Check out his stuff. I mean, you guys, a
great
lot of
stuff.
people, Browns Film Breakdown at Browns Film BDN on Twitter. Check it out. It was funny while I was talking, Ashton was texting me the picture of the play, the video of the play where they talking about with Njoku running down the middle of the field. I was like, well, just turn on the radio right now. The guy
He's
posted
breaking
that
it down.
is breaking it down.
He's breaking it down.
as we
Thanks,
speak.
Jake. Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me anytime. Love the show.
All right, there he goes. Jake Burns, Browns Film Breakdown at Browns Film BDN on Twitter. He joined on the Twisted Tea Hotline presented by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly on 850 ESPN Cleveland. The Cleveland Browns High School Game of the Week, presented by Ohio Cat, showcases top matchups and rising stars across Northeast Ohio. Each week, fans vote for the game they want to see, and the winning team earns $3K in funding plus spotlight coverage on the Browns' social media. Time for one thought around the league from an absolutely bonkers Week 5.
By the way, I have one thought real quickly. We were just going through talking jump shots.
Yeah.
Who was your what was your jump shot model? Who did you? Because
we
mine
grew
was
up in
very Rex-like. I had a very.
We
that
grew
was
up
what
in
I
a very
modeled it on.
different world because we're all men, we're 40. When we were kids, people didn't change your shot. They took your shot and then accentuated what made it
Good.
Positive.
Yeah.
That's how when I tell my kids
So
that
all the kids
Larry
shoot the
Bird,
same now?
that Larry Bird's the best shooter I've ever seen, they're like, Dad, he shot over his head. What are you talking about? And I'm like, well, that's the way we used to teach it. They didn't teach it. So now every kid is taught to shoot like Steph. So that's what they all.
So it's all just.
It's all straight up. It's just here. It's just that. That's how they're all taught.
Yeah,
I was a higher release point too, and so it was. I don't know that I modeled it. I can't remember modeling it after anybody. It was just effective, and so that's what I used. But I also never had anybody change it.
I was trying to be like Rex, get the little leg kick out if I was coming around the screen. I feel like Gibbe's shot in my mind would be like Bill Cartwright's.
Be amazing if it was.
Yeah.
Who would ever block it if you shot? There's another great example though. He made all of those. Nobody's changed him when he was a kid. And
I actually did change mine. I had
you really?
I had horrible form. I had a knuckleball.
When did you change it?
Probably late middle school, early high school.
That's usually the
Was
time.
it up here though, like Bill
I had
Cartwright?
I had a couple really good high school coaches. One of which actually was on the stat crew for the game in London.
Oh, really?
Shout out to Bob Maver.
How about
Hope
that,
you're well,
man?
buddy? I think he's in Switzerland though this week. But literally was like, okay, you're doing this wrong.
Yeah.
And then I became the model, like what we would do, like on Saturday mornings as part of our varsity basketball. If you were on the varsity basketball team,
Yeah.
or even on the JV, Saturday mornings you had 2 clinics that you had to do with youth.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So
I like that.
we did stuff with kids from 1st grade through 5th, and then first through 4th, and then 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Mm-hmm.
We had 2 clinics in the morning on every Saturday morning that we had to run.
That's cool.
And they would bring me out and they would like, show them how you used to shoot.
Yeah.
Now shoot.
Yeah.
And again, I wasn't scoring 40 a night or anything.
Sure.
But I was.
That's really smart, though, that they did it at that age. That's a good time to do it because that's right when you're changing physically. You're becoming stronger.
Yeah.
NBC, I did that.
Out of the
He
phone booth,
changed
baby.
his-
Out
and
of the phone booth.
Yeah, absolutely. He changed his, I think, in 5th. Beamsy's altered his a little bit, and Bootsy, we're doing some stuff with Bootsy right now. But that's it. It's such a beautiful thing when it all clicks, but it is hard when you do something naturally and you're like, oh, I got to change this.
Yeah.
You gotta switch it up a
I
little
just
bit.
want Bill
So
Cartwright for Gibbe.
that would be good.
Bill Cartwright, solid.
All those look how like Magic Johnson shot though. Like everybody, even Jordan and like Jordan's shot is very much like Kobe's, but
Kobe's,
he basically mimicked it. So basically all of his mannerisms, all of it. But everybody just had different. Now most of the kids try to shoot like Steph, which is a pretty good idea. If you're going to shoot like anybody, he's the
Or
best
Clay.
to ever do
Clay
it.
had
Yeah.
a very sweet.
He did, but it's
stroke.
that Steph. It's that.
Yeah.
And it gets out quick that way too. That's the other thing. Like it really gets out quick, and you can generate a lot of power.
Yeah, because it starts low.
Start slow.
It's much lower.
Yeah.
Just a heads up, more trades coming today. Not with us, but the Ravens. Who did the Ravens acquire earlier today at corner? C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Didn't they just sign him to his practice squad?
Yes. They have traded edge Adafe Owe
A former first-round pick.
and the Rams 7th in
And a
2027 to the Chargers for safety Alohi Gilman and a 2026 5th-round pick.
Wow.
What? Why?
I'm not sure, but
What an odd thing.
I don't know.
Both those teams are mash units.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chargers are playing without everybody. Baltimore, everybody of consequence was out. Huh.
So, some things going on around the league today. Baltimore's trying to shore up whatever they can. The Bengals clearly doing the same. So,
Wow, that's wild.
with that in mind, time for one thought quickly around the league from week number 5 in the National Football League. I'll probably just rotate each one of you on these.
You're the boss, Gibby.
Monday Night Football. I will take a thought from both of you on this one. Jacksonville 31, Kansas City 28. That first-round pick continues to get worse. Not pleased. Bo Bishop.
Yeah, I think I'll just take the Jacksonville side. That feels to me like one of those wins that when you win that way, as improbable as that was with him stumbling and falling and all of those things and eventually stumbling into the end zone, it feels like one of those wins that can springboard an operation. And now all of a sudden you're looking at two teams in that division at 4-1. Indy is legit good. They lead the league in point differential, and maybe Jacksonville's okay too.
They believe in Liam Cohen. I mean, I think that was pretty
he's got
apparent
a
the
lot
way
of
that
juice to him,
that they have talked about him. Yeah, I think that.
You seem like in the in-game interviews and stuff, he's an impressive dude. He got kind of a bad rap because of the Duval, but like,
no, he's got a little.
There's something to him. Yeah,
he's got.
He was chirping Saleh, like whether that's a smart decision or not. I would say probably not, but I think that if you're on his team, you like it. Yeah.
Saleh was threatening violence. I'm surprised that like nothing's happened about that.
Yeah, everything.
Like when you say things,
those
like that,
significant.
I mean, Jerry Jones just got fined, I think, $250K for flipping off the fans.
Yeah, and then pointed at him. It was great. I'm surprised. Like, here's the thing, though. Like, Baker's video was awesome with the fan in Seattle, but there were things that were included in that video that the league might not be.
With Bake?
Yeah.
Well, no, I guess
they would be pleased
I'm
with.
sure there is an envelope waiting for him come Saturday with.
But didn't the league tweet it out?
Probably.
Yeah, I thought. Well, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. There's so much that comes my way. It's hard to know what isn't. But yeah.
Scurry, you got a thought on this Jacksonville KC game?
Well, Gibby, if you're paying attention, I said
he did give you one.
I gave you a thought. It was about their head coach Liam Cohen. It's unbelievable.
Fair enough.
It's unbelievable.
I'm not going to lie. The jet lag today is a lot worse than it was yesterday. The jet lag is
cascading down the fairway,
bounding.
What do you got left?
110
in. 110 in. Easy.
You got waves,
all right,
Johnny.
All right, Zagoro. 49ers 26, Rams 23 in overtime.
This feels like 6 years ago. Where did you watch this? Where did you guys watch it?
It kicked off at 1:30 in the morning.
Oh, my God, that's right. You did.
I watched it while I ate breakfast in the morning when they were doing the post-game show.
I saw the Tonjes touchdown and went to bed. Incredible win by the 49ers. Stafford is playing great football. It's hard to believe they lost the game where he threw for 389-3 without a turnover. Puka Nakua's the best receiver or most consistently productive receiver in football. Devontae Adams has been there. It's been a lot of fun. But this, to me, the story here is a couple of things. It's Mac Jones, bless you. It's Mac Jones, and it's Kyle Shanahan.
It's Kyle.
Kyle Shanahan had Mac Jones go 33 of 49 for 342 and 2 touchdowns. They had none of their receivers. They didn't have their top 3 receivers, and they did not have their top tight end. And then Kendrick Bourne goes 10 for 142. Tonjes goes 7 for 41 and a touchdown. Christian McCaffrey's having one of the great receiving seasons in the league right now, and he's a running back, but he's got 39 for 387 and 3 touchdowns receiving, which is wild. Yeah. That's an incredible win there. Their defense was opportunistic. He got 2 fumbles, one from Stafford, one from Kyron Williams. The Kyron Williams one going into the end zone. An incredible win for the 49ers. And this is a team now 4-1. They're going to get Ayuk back in a week.
That's crazy what he's done, yeah.
They're going to get, obviously, hopefully Pearsall and Juwan Jennings can get healthy. This feels like a team that, if there are teams, if the Browns are a team that as this season goes along, that, if things do not go the way we want, we certainly want to see the season go a lot of wins, but Niners might be a team that has some familiarity with scheme-wise that some people they might be interested in.
Yeah.
All right. Early games from Sunday. Thank you for the double bonus. I appreciate the effort.
We can't war on each other.
What did I do wrong that
time?
No,
I just said thank you for the double bonus because I screwed up.
Okay. Jesus.
I appreciated Z coming back with a little more information.
He gave you all the information.
Thank you.
There. Yeah, okay, very good, very good.
Trust me, I'm getting through it. It's going to be a struggle bus for the final 20 minutes.
We're
Early games.
We're almost there.
Sunday, Bo Bishop, one thought, Texans 44, Ravens 10.
Baltimore's injury list is the most star-studded injury list I've ever seen an NFL team put out in week 5. Never seen anything like it. Basically every good player. And you were dead on. I was off. I thought they were somehow they'd cobble something together. There's nothing to cobble together. They're a mess. They're going to get to 1-5, and then they're going to try and lick wounds and make a heck of a run. But you said it on Monday. They're this year's Bengals. I think that's a good way to put it. How deep is this hole that they're trying to dig out of? It's pretty substantial.
I mean, if you need any more example that Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow are real MVPs, you're talking about teams that go from being, oh, we think these teams could win the Super Bowl to these are the 2 worst teams in the league.
Yeah.
And I hope from the Texans standpoint, I really hope that this is a get-right game for C.J. Stroud. I hope that this gets him going. 23 of 27, 244, 4 touchdowns, no picks. I hope that this gets him going a little bit.
All right, we'll rotate guys here. Nathan, one thought. Panthers 27, Dolphins 24.
Had it. I knew Carolina was going to win this game. They're the ultimate roller coaster. This is a game where they were down, I want to say 17-0.
Something like that.
Yeah, they were down 17-0
we
early in the second quarter. Incredible that they were able to come back. Mike McDaniel was as dejected as I've ever seen him, and then his press conference was somewhat incoherent.
He's broken.
Yeah, they're going to end up making a change. Darren Waller's one of the craziest stories I've seen in a long time. Darren Waller, let's look at his career. Last played in 12 games in 2023, doesn't play at all last year, misses the first 4 weeks of the season, comes back and in 2 games has 8 catches for 105 yards and 3 touchdowns, averaging 13 yards a catch. Like
crazy.
Bo Bishop, for you, Colts 40, Raiders 6.
And by the way, he's 33 years old. It's not like he's a spring chicken.
Colts are legit good. They lead the NFL in
Yes,
point differential and really should be 5-0.
Zagura, Saints 26, G-Men 14.
We had this one too. Vegas told you this when they made the Saints the favorites. Vegas said, yeah, the Saints are going to win this game. Weird, I didn't hear a whole lot from my dad about Jackson Dart this week.
Oh, less this week, huh?
A lot, significantly less this week, which is interesting. A game, he turned it over 3 times in this game, but nice win. You got to feel. I'm happy for the Saints. Chris Olave, and obviously this comes from my fantasy. Chris Olave is in danger of doing something that I would have to guess has never happened before. So Chris Olave right now has 33 catches for 244 yards, 7.4 yards a catch. He's a wide receiver. Here's his yards per catch by game so far this season, 7.7, 9.0. He had a game where he had 10 catches for 57 yards. That's like a running back. 5.7, 6.7, 8.4. He has not had a game in which he has had averaged 10 yards a catch yet. This is a first-round pick wide receiver.
Yeah, everything's underneath. There's just nothing. Yeah.
Bo, for you, Dallas 37, the New York Football Jets, the lone team without a win in the league, 22.
If Dak Prescott can somehow keep this team above float, he deserves, and he does anyway, he really deserves serious MVP conversation because they are so decimated. No CeeDee Lamb, and they win. They scored 35 every game. Like, it's pretty remarkable how he's playing right now.
Dak should be in the MVP conversation.
So I just said.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Not welcome back.
Zagura.
I agree.
Broncos 21, Eagles 17. Eagles fall from the ranks of the unbeaten.
Denver is not firing on all cylinders, and yet they're still frisky. And this was a big win for them. There are a lot right now. Saquon Barkley is not playing like Saquon Barkley running the football. Obviously, we know the A.J. Brown thing. All is not well at this point right here for the Eagles. But, at this time a year ago, they were 3-2. People are calling for their head. So they're ahead of where they were a year ago to get things going. There's too much talent on that side of the ball. It's a new offensive coordinator. He's clearly struggling. I think they'll get it figured out.
Me too.
Bo Bishop, late window, Titans 22, Cardinals 21.
I didn't see any of this. Z told me how this thing finished, like all the crazy
One of the
things.
craziest games.
Yeah.
Ever.
I'm actually surprised we haven't seen more or heard more about what Gannon was doing on the sideline.
Yeah, same.
That was a pretty alarming, that video.
Next, the best uniform matchup of the day. Buccaneers 38, Seahawks 35. Segura.
This is the game of the game. Tampa continues to win games that if you get into people who like this kind of stuff, if you get into the EPA and all of this, like the Seahawks should have won this game. But Tampa keeps finding a way to win these games. And Baker Mayfield. Well, here's what's interesting. And this is, if you want to talk about certainly an MVP candidate, you talk about a change. One of the things that you and I always talked about, with Baker, and it really has been kind of the MO for his career, which is he has not been great in those late game type of situations. He truly has not. In fact, in his 8-year NFL career, he has 14 game-winning fourth quarter comebacks and 16 game-winning drives. So he averages about 2 a season.
Yeah.
He's had some seasons where he's had none of those. All 4 of their wins have been fourth quarter comebacks and game-winning drives. He has been clutch in those moments, and they have been very, very good. Things are not as good as they seem with them, but he is at the moments that matter, and that's why they're 60-minute games, and you need to be ahead when it gets to 60. They've done a great job. I'm curious to see how they evolve, but there's no denying that he is right now one of the most fun quarterbacks to watch because he's throwing a lot of balls that look like they're going to pick by 3 people, and they end up being 80-yard touchdowns. But he is making plays. He looks great. Happy for him. Killing it. And that clutchness, though, that breeds a confidence in a team that it doesn't matter what's going on, we can win. So it'll be interesting to see where they go. They're going to win their division again.
All right,
Lessons for both of these teams too. I mean, both Baker and Sam were on Carolina, and they both were superb.
And they get no grief.
By the way, the 2 Ohio State receivers,
So
they
good.
can play.
Jackson Smith,
7-163 for Mack and 8 for 132 for JSN.
All right. Unfortunately, we've got to go to break here. Lions 37, Bengals 24. Commies beat the Chargers 27-10. And Sunday Night Football, Patriots beat the Bills 23-20. But we did talk about that one yesterday.
There you go. This month's winner of the local business platform presented by Minuteman Association with Medical Mutuals Envision Design Group. Locally owned in Menor, Envision Design Group is dedicated to crafting authentic, innovative, affordable brand solutions. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/community/local business platform. So much more to come. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Junior Browns backers, the Cleveland Browns official kid club presented by University Hospitals Rainbows Babies and Children. Association with Cardinal Credit Union is back. Ages 4 to 12. Give your kid a season full of Browns memories with exclusive gear, experiences, events, and plenty of surprises all season long. Visit juniorbrownsbackers.com to join today. Did you watch any of the Manning cast last night?
I did not.
Me either. Isn't
Nope.
that amazing?
And Troy Aikman's so good right now. They're so good. Did not. I know. I did see the clip of when Heidi Gardner was reacting in real time to the pick six, which was kind of funny. But
Yeah. It's funny, like it used to be something I'd always go to first and get it, and I ran out of taste for it. It's strange.
1 minute.
We know why. We've talked about it a
Yeah.
lot, but it's just like if you're into the game, it's
if it was just them, I'd certainly do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. On to Pittsburgh tomorrow, kids. Going to be, when is Coach Talk tomorrow? Do you have that schedule?
I want to say everything's moved up or moved back. I'm sorry. It's like late in the 12 o'clock hour.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be a fascinating press conference.
Yep.
Obviously, a big newsy day on what is normally an off day for the football for the team. Anyway, the team is here, but the front office is here. Team is not. So busy day today. We'll immediately see what Kevin has to say about that tomorrow. Appreciate you listening, everybody. We are back tomorrow. Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Please bet responsibly. Oh, happy birthday, B.